Our home is nestled in the foothills that lie between Denver and Colorado Springs. Well, not precisely the foothills. The journey stretches 20 miles into the heart of the mountains. The nearest building to our home is 3 miles in a straight line, but it takes about 12 miles to reach by car. Consult the dictionary for the word remote, and you'll find an image that perfectly captures the essence of our cabin. It's puzzling why every house in the mountains is referred to as a cabin. This is a house, and quite a spacious one indeed. Embracing this lifestyle brings you significantly closer to the natural world. As we wander along the trails, we gather edible mushrooms, nuts, and berries, savoring the delights of nature during our leisurely strolls. It would be me, Ethan, and my wife Claire, with whom I've shared 12 wonderful years. I take pride in being that enthusiastic amateur mushroom forager. I handle the cooking at home, utilizing nearly everything I discover during our nature walks. Today, I ventured out for a solitary walk to clear my mind and devise some plans. My thoughts are all over the place at the moment. I find myself at a crossroads, uncertain of the next step to take. Last night, we engaged in a conversation. Darling, we must have a conversation. Near a lingonberry bush, I discovered a rare and lethal mushroom thriving. If my suspicions are correct, this is known as a destroying angel and is highly poisonous. Even a small amount can wreak havoc on your liver and negatively impact your kidneys. The particularly lethal aspect of this condition lies in the fact that its initial symptoms can be easily mistaken for diarrhea. If not addressed within just 2 days, recovery becomes impossible, leading to a profoundly painful demise. Regrettably, individuals often fail to connect diarrhea with mushroom poisoning, and by the time they pursue medical attention, it may be too late. The destroying angel mushroom boasts a pristine white appearance, featuring a sleek stem and cap. A ring-like membrane adorns the upper part of the stem, while the lower section exhibits a subtle bulbous shape. I observed 3 of them, and each was a perfect illustration. I rushed home, located some latex gloves, and went back to gather the lethal little creatures. I placed them in a compact cooler. During our time together, Claire constantly emphasized the importance of loyalty and often lamented how her father's actions had negatively impacted her childhood. Her mother had ended the marriage and turned the children's thoughts against their father. My uncle's divorce was the closest experience I had to understanding what Claire endured. Nonetheless, the idea of ever sharing Claire, whether on purpose or not, was repulsive to me. We both expressed that infidelity was a deal breaker. During our time together, we came to an understanding that our sexual histories were merely remnants of the past. Claire possessed an extraordinary talent for bringing me pleasure that seemed far beyond the experience of a novice. Even though I had some experience, I had entirely overlooked the importance of understanding how to satisfy a woman. I have significantly improved, or at least Claire has me convinced of that. Claire possesses striking beauty and an alluring figure. Just graduated from high school, she secured a television commercial. However, that marked the conclusion of her acting journey. She currently holds the position of project manager at a company specializing in information systems and computer skills training. She is very engaged in the movement for women in government. I work as a corporate accountant. Uninspiring, yet it offers a decent paycheck. I've embraced my inner geek from a young age. I had a strong feeling that if I earned $1 for every woman who considered me too geeky to date, eventually, they would all come around and want to date me. I observed from a distance as the women gathered around the wealth. Fortunately, Claire recognized my potential, and we were now relishing life together. Conversations about beginning a family were becoming more common. Darling, we must have a conversation. It echoed relentlessly within my mind. As your life unfolds in a rapid sequence, a profound sense of melancholy envelops you. Happily ever after may not be as blissful as it seems. I perched on one of the stools at the island counter in the kitchen. Claire appeared completely composed, devoid of any tears, as if she hadn't shed a single one. Resolute would be the term I'd choose to depict her expression. I find myself seated. Proceed, I replied. It's interesting that we never discussed our romantic experiences prior to our meeting. We came to a consensus that it belonged to a time gone by. I find it difficult to confess that I didn't quite embody the ideal of a good girl. When I was attempting to launch my acting career, I made bold choices to secure the television commercial I featured in. I didn't achieve success each time I shared them. Now, I find myself questioning that, and it matters to me. "One of the agents who had a close relationship with me is attempting to extort me," she responded. She already had my attention, yet I found myself sitting up straight. "In what way is he attempting to coerce you?" I inquired. I received a call on my cell phone from someone who was supposed to be my mom. The caller ID displayed her name. It was only after I ended the call that I recognized the number I dialed was not my mother's. Regardless, the individual mentioned he possessed a video of me that was prepared for sharing. He was aware of the appearance of that birthmark on my inner thigh. Few are aware of that, Ethan. He claims that if I am particularly kind to him once a month, he will ensure that video remains hidden. An unsettling anticipation loomed over me. "What actions have you taken since he reached out to you?" I inquired. "I asked him to return my call tomorrow. I just finished my call with him. What have I created? I am currently engaged in it. I am saying this to you." My heart raced within my chest. Internally, I was repeating, "Yes, yes, yes." "Approach me," I responded. We embraced and shared a kiss. "Were you aware that it was being documented?" I inquired. I was completely in the dark. I'm uncertain about the identity of this agent. "Should I reach out to law enforcement?" she inquired. "Please wait before proceeding with that. I have a feeling that video might emerge if events don't unfold as he intends. Is there anything in that video that might not meet my approval?" Claire lowered her gaze, and tears began to stream down her cheeks. Inside, my mantra had shifted to curse, curse, curse. An agent was looking out for me. "I have never allowed you to do that. I despised it. It pained me. Many. I'm not sure if it was this individual. All the other aspects were simply the usual matters of affection. At times, there were a couple of fellows. If you'd like, I can support you as well. Claire, perhaps in another context, we could consider that possibility. This moment isn't quite suitable. A strategy is essential." I responded with frustration. I consumed shots until I reached a level of inebriation that hindered my ability to keep plotting. The sole consensus we reached was that when he called tomorrow, she would inform them of my desire to observe their gathering. That was the most misleading statement imaginable. However, we concurred that this would provide us with additional time to eliminate this danger. I decided to take a break from my routine and ventured out for a refreshing walk in nature. I came back with my compact cooler brimming with the lethal beauties. Claire returned home from her job. "He reached out once more today." "Did he consent to my watching?" I inquired. "Absolutely significant. He mentioned that if my timid husband wished to understand how to love me, he would gladly oblige. That scoundrel is a goner. The specifics of who, how, when, and where remain to be clarified." Claire and I dedicated the evening to refining our options for a private investigator. Once we encounter this blackmailer, our goal is to uncover everything about him and his residence. I doubt you're the sole target of his antics. He likely has a dedicated space in his home for storing the recordings. We must devise a strategy to eliminate that collection. Claire conversed with the investigator and conveyed our intentions for an introductory meeting. We aimed to provide the investigator with a solid foundation to build upon. As I contemplated the various options available to me that would keep me on the right side of the law, a clever scheme began to take shape. Discovering those mushrooms felt like a delightful stroke of luck. Typically, I would hand them over to the Colorado Mycological Society, where a specialist would verify their toxicity. Typically. "Claire, when the blackmailer reaches out tomorrow, extend an invitation for dinner on Friday night. The picnic tables located in the campground near the highway are available for our use. A grill awaits, perfect for searing some steaks. Believe me, no inquiries. That was given to me by Claire. What sort of mischief are you involved in? Listen, believe me, just go for it." Claire mentioned that it required some persuasion, but the blackmailer finally consented to meet with us. He mentioned that a bodyguard would be by his side. That didn't faze me. The week dragged on, each day stretching endlessly as I eagerly anticipated the arrival of Friday night. A drone was set to capture footage of the vehicles making their way to the campground. After isolating our blackmailer, he would trail them once they departed. Claire and I stood by the grill, anticipation building as a pickup truck rolled in. Upon our arrival, I had already ignited the charcoals, and they were glowing a vibrant red. A robust carbon-based entity emerged from the driver's side and positioned itself beside the truck. He drew back his jacket, revealing a gun securely holstered at his side. A seemingly ordinary man stepped out from the passenger side. His hair was smooth and pulled back into a ponytail that fell just beneath his collar. His smarmy look was completed by a goatee, an earring in one ear, a bulky watch, and gold chains. Claire murmured, "That's Orlando." "It was good to see you again, Claire," but we both responded with icy glares. "Please take a seat. Would you like a beer?" "What's your preferred way to enjoy your steak?" she inquired. "A cold beer sounds delightful. Prepare it medium rare, please." "What have you been working on lately, Claire?" He wore a sly grin. There was nothing that would capture your attention as she placed the can before Orlando. This picnic table caught my eye due to the charming little white mushrooms flourishing in its vicinity. "How about adding some mushrooms to your steak and salad? I notice a few positioned near your foot. Extract them from the earth and present them to me." Orlando and Claire both gave me this incredulous look, but Orlando bent down and emerged with 5 of them. I took a decisive action against one of them. "Wow, these are impressive." I exaggerated the act of chewing and swallowing the mushroom while I retrieved the salad ingredients and steaks from the coolers. I donned my latex gloves and meticulously diced 2 of the lethal beauties. I returned the 3rd one to the sack, along with the majority of what Orlando had gathered. Cooking does not reduce the harmful effects of the mushrooms. I prepared some angel pieces to accompany his steak. I combined the remaining ingredients into the salad and set off for Orlando. I measured, and Orlando received 4 ounces of mushrooms. I generously drizzled salad dressing and steak sauce, complemented by a few crescent rolls, and dinner was ready to be enjoyed. I softly urged Claire, refrain from taking anything from his plate. While Orlando reveled in our hospitality, a smirk played on his lips. "I was considering that you might want to come over to my place this evening, Claire. That won't be happening. I won't be going to any place where you can record me again." "Good effort, you fool," she responded. "All right, let's head back to your place. My friend will need to see it as well." "You're not bothered by that, are you, timid one?" He wore a sly grin. I dove right in. "We are staying in tonight. We are here to determine the most suitable time and place for everyone involved. Understood. How about we rendezvous at one of those motels I spotted along the highway?" "Why not this evening?" he inquired. Claire retorted. "It is as I have stated. I included that I still require time to adjust to this concept. How about we gather there next Friday? I will secure a room." Claire gave me a look that could pierce through steel. Orlando was employing his bread to absorb the last traces of steak juices. Wow, those mushrooms were absolutely delicious. He glanced about and noticed another group of mushrooms near the neighboring picnic bench. As he made his way back to the truck, he gathered them up. "See you next Friday. If you decide to withdraw, the repercussions won't be pleasant, Claire. Farewell, weakling." Once the truck made its way onto the frontage road, Claire erupted. "What on earth is going on with that? There's absolutely no chance I'm meeting him Friday night. He will not be present," I responded with a smile. "There's no way he won't." "What leads you to believe he won't show up?" she inquired. "I thought we had a mutual understanding of trust. There are no inquiries." "I suppose I don't really want to know, do I?" she inquired. I just offered her a smile. Orlando felt a flutter of excitement at the mere thought of Claire. She had become even more stunning now that she had gained a bit of fullness. That skinny teenager in his video pales in comparison to this stunning individual. He downed another beer at the bar before making his way back to his truck with his $50 date. Once he had satisfied her, he made his way back home. After a few toots, he pondered, "Something I ate must not be sitting well with me." In the early hours, Orlando brewed a pot of coffee and nibbled on the stale donuts from 2 days prior. He devoted the entire morning to perusing his adult video collection and attempting to navigate social media in search of the whereabouts of some of these foolish women. It was midday when the initial wave of discomfort struck. Then it was 3 p.m., and by 5 p.m., he felt utterly exhausted. The stomach cramps were intense, yet the scotch dulled all of his senses. On Sunday morning, a foul odor lingered in his room. As he stepped away to find some privacy, an unfortunate realization struck him. He had soiled his pants. His head throbbed with pain. His stomach churned uneasily, while a fiery sensation radiated from his back. He washed himself in the shower. After indulging in pizza for lunch, Orlando found himself grappling with intense stomach cramps just an hour later, leaving him contemplating a trip to the emergency room. The screwdrivers he was indulging in offered him a reprieve from his troubles until around 10 p.m. He found himself with a dwindling supply of clean clothes. Propped against the shower wall, he once more considered the possibility of heading to the emergency room. On Monday morning, Orlando was curled up in a fetal position on the floor outside his bedroom bathroom. He lacked the strength to rise to his feet. As he attempted to use his cell phone, it slipped from his grasp and glided beneath his bed. He couldn't get to it. On Tuesday afternoon, his cleaning crew discovered him unconscious and promptly called 911. The investigator Claire hired managed to reveal a wealth of details about Orlando, including his residence. I continued to search for the closest hospitals until I found Orlando. On that Tuesday evening. By Wednesday night, Orlando's home and everything within it had been reduced to a heap of ashes. There are indications that arson may be involved. A set of 6 vacant 5-gallon gas cans served as a rather telling indication. Claire, visibly anxious, had just put me through a thorough questioning. Ethan, the week has come full circle. It's Friday. What's going on with Orlando? I mentioned he wouldn't show up. We can enjoy a peaceful meal here, I responded. What about his warning? She inquired. I simply said to disregard it. Claire was on the verge of expressing another thought when the doorbell chimed. Excuse me, Mr. Nelson? Gazing at the badge that was presented for my view. Indeed, that is me. What assistance do you require, detective? I responded. It appears that Orlando Pierce may have consumed a toxic mushroom. The officer questioned, stating that he mentioned picking some when he met you for dinner a week ago. He selected a handful of wild mushrooms. I believe I still possess some, since we didn't utilize all of them. Please, step inside while I fetch them. I discovered the cooler in the garage and handed it over to the detective. Here it is. What's the vibe like in Orlando? I inquired. On the brink of survival. I'm not sure he'll be able to make it this weekend. The officer responded. Claire's eyes shimmered with a captivating brilliance. Inform me of any additional ways we can assist, detective, I inquired, concealing my grin. Absolutely, I'll take care of it. Wishing you all a pleasant evening ahead. Claire observed intently as the detective's car vanished from view, descending the mountain. I prefer to remain unaware. I prefer to remain unaware. The chant echoed in my mind, a refrain of denial, as Claire stood before me, unadorned and unapologetic. Then she went on to provide me with the most unforgettable romantic experience of my life. On Monday morning, when I inquired about Orlando's room, I was informed that he was no longer a patient. Coward, that fool. The detective and the Colorado Mycological Society have responded to us. Can you believe it, Claire? One of those mushrooms was a lethal angel. It took Orlando's life. How fortunate we are that we avoided eating one like Orlando did. The investigator further revealed that someone set fire to Orlando's home while he was receiving treatment in the hospital. Let's discuss a streak of unfortunate events. Claire was not convinced. Less than an hour later, I savored our intimate moments together. It was endearing to hear her gently repeating, I don't want to know. Thus, we find ourselves at the conclusion of today's tale. Did it meet your expectations? Or did it take an unexpected turn that caught you off guard? I would love to know what you think. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's spark a discussion. If this tale captivated your attention, be sure to give the like button a tap. If you're new to this space or haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now is the ideal moment to become part of our community. Every day, I deliver engaging and intriguing narratives. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and enable notifications to stay updated on everything we share. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next installment.